That is Quran. Plainly clear, categorically clear, unequivocally clear. It says, Qulillahum, you should say, Allahum, O Lord, Malik al-Mulk, you are the possessor of power, the owner of dominion. Tu'til mulka man tasha, you give power to whom you please. You bestow dominion on whom you want. You confer power on whom you please, you wish. وَتَنْزِعُ الْمُلْكَ. Look at Quran. It says, وَتَنْزِعُ, not وَتَأْخُذ. There is a difference between al-akhzu and naza'. وَتَنْزِعُ, you extricate. You take it forcefully against the wish of the one that enjoys it. That's why they hardly allow power to slip away. So Allah says, وَتَنْزِعُ الْمُلْكَ مِمَّنْ تَشَاءُ. The point is, democracy is man-made. They say it's the government from people. Allah says no. Government is from Allah, given by Allah, taken away by the same authority. Is that clear? So for this simple reason, I don't believe in democracy. But since it is a system working, you look at the leadership today, is it truly democratic? How do you call it? I call it kakistocratic. I'm not democratic. There is democracy and kakistocracy. You know, kakistocracy is the government by a small bunch of people who commit rascalism. They are not rascals, but they commit rascalism. Stealing people, properties, killing, maiming. I have just returned from the Niger Delta. I went to Bonny Island. You pity people there. I was in Chekiri places in Warri and Ohubu areas, riverine areas. You pity the people there. Their environment degraded, polluted because of oil exploration. But you know what? White men are driven in big cars with escort in Warri, in Bonny, in Port Harcourt, in many places. The Europeans get on coming, you go to the airport. I was in Abuja airport today coming down to Kano. You see Europeans, landing and going. They come and land because they know the type of resources they can get here. If they connive with the undemocratic forces in the country. So what I'm saying, feature number 2, don't forget, is what? Hypocrisy. Or hypocritical democracy. Number 3, which will come even number 1. It should come number 1. One of the characteristics of Western civilization is disbelief in Allah. Yeah, Allah is never taken into consideration. Because according to them, unto Caesar should be what is unto Caesar. And unto God should be what is unto God. They say, render unto Caesar what is Caesar's and unto God what is God. So when you say Islam and Western civilization, so which kind of civilization? Islam is a monotheistic religion. Western civilization is not. So how can they go together? So this is feature number 1, number 3. Disbelief in Allah. Because the Western society, even though they claim to be Christians, wallahi, they don't practice Christianity at all. They don't even know the teachings in the Bible. We understand Christianity is good religion. It's not. Inna dina indallahi. But even what they claim to believe in, they don't practice it. Any true Christian, if he is a Christian, if he really reads his Bible well, let him go and read the book of Leviticus from its beginning to end. Believe you me, even saying Salamu Alaikum is in the book. Taking bath after sexual intercourse, man and his wife, taking bath is there in Leviticus. When a woman comes to the end of her menstrual cycle, one can highlight. Taking bath is also there in the Bible, in the book of Leviticus. Hijab, you will wonder, in the Bible. in 1 Corinthians chapter 11 verses 5 to 6 of the New Testament. You can go and prove it. Many things. If somebody steals, his hand should be cut off. In the Bible, Matthew 18:18 in the New Testament. But we don't practice it. We were last 3 days in the palace of an Eze in Abia State. You know what? In a Muslim Eze. We went there. One of us, we asked him, okay, speak. Somebody asked, and we were being told in the Bible that Abraham gave birth to 2 children. I am quoting it. One of them is Ishmael. I'm using his English. The other one is Isaac. And now which one be true son of God? We want Una to talk and finish here. We said, okay, one of us should speak. And believe you me, the brother, an engineer in Abuja with NNPC, was in our entourage. When he spoke, the chief or the Eze or the Igwe, you know the differences in the names. Some part of Iboland they say Eze, some say Igwe, some say Obi, something. When he talked, the Eze was about to be shaking. He said, what? I have never heard this in my life. I don't even know a Muslim can quote the Bible. I don't know the Muslims, you are like this. You learn, you study. Please, they were making a request. Come and talk to us on burial. You know how they suffer concerning burial? When somebody dies, you know how they suffer, you know wakekeeping of the Christians? Somebody could be alive, nothing is given to him, but by the time he died or he dies, they buy what? Coffin, casket, worth millions of naira for him. So somebody was telling me, as we were going to Port Harcourt the day before yesterday, this is very laughable, comical. A young man came to the hospital in Port Harcourt General Hospital to visit his sick father. The father died unknown to him. He went and sat beside the corpse. He was sobbing. Papa, you know greed die when I get money. Now you come die. Papa, you know greed die when I get money. Now you come die when I get money. Now you sabi. Foolish man, and then went out. La ilaha illallah. Wai fa ubansa ne yake ga masa wannan magana. Baba ka ki ka mutu lokacin da nake da kuɗi, ka ki ka mutu ina da kuɗi. Sai ni da ban da kuɗi sannan ka zo ka mutu. Mutumin banza sai tashi ya fita bashi. Kafirun. What is the point? The point is that Western civilization that has its roots in Nigerian system today does not believe in Allah. Part of the disbelief, you have these things mentioned. They don't even read the Bible. They claim to be Christians. The Americans claim to be Christians. Obama can claim to be Christian, though a Muslim by origin, for example. In England, they claim to be Christians, Anglican Church. But do you know, the Archbishop of Canterbury, Dr. George Carey, recently was saying some part of Islamic rules on social system should be implemented in England. Recently, who compelled him to say this? So this is feature number 3 of Western civilization. Does not believe in what? In Allah. They only claim to believe in Jesus Christ. And even Jesus Christ is not known by them. We know Isa al-Masih better than they claim to know him. As I was speaking to one pastor in the former River State, Ikwere Iche, I said, look pastor, I look more like Jesus than you are. I said, because I grow beard. He said, look at you. You are clean shaven or dirty shaven. Yeah, I told him. I said, number 2, my wife, my daughter, my mother, my sister is more like Mary, the mother of Jesus, than the girls on the street in Port Harcourt, because they go half nakedly. Our sisters are covered, and you are the people drawing the picture of Mary covered. So we are much closer to Jesus than you are. He said, yes, you look more like George Bush. When Jesus comes today, he recognizes me before recognizing you. I am in long robe, but you in your own suit. Not only that, Jesus is mentioned in 25 different places of the Quran. There is a whole chapter named after the mother of Jesus Christ, chapter Mary, Surah to Maryam, chapter 19. But in the whole of the Bible, you hardly get any part where you have the Gospel according to St. Mary. Not a single one. Not in the Old Testament that contains 39 books, nor the New Testament having 27 books. All I'm saying this, in line with feature number what? 3. Their irreligiousness. Number 4. One of the features of Western civilization, it is a conquering civilization. Get me? It conquers you. It dominates you. It is an overbearing kind of civilization. That is why they control you economically. Western civilization today preaches free economic what? Free economy enterprises or free market. Sans frontières, according to French people. Without any border. They can come and buy, and they make sure your currency is very, very weak, and they control the economic nerve center of the world. I mean World Bank. Bodies like IMF is controlled by them. World Bank, Paris Club, London Club. Is it the reality today? Yes, no. What is 1 naira to dollar? Or what is naira to dollar? How much do you need to give to claim $1? I'm asking you. If only you know. How much do I need to give to have $1? I'm asking you. 100 and... No, I think it has come down, certainly. I don't know. Because it has been fluctuating, I know. But it's around 160 something. I'm not sure. Even if it is $50 to 1 naira, it's bad for economy. It's bad. So it's one of the features of Western civilization. It is a dominating civilization. How many features? 4. And I'm going to ask you, I told you earlier, to be forewarned is to be forearmed. So I have forewarned you, so I have forearmed you. It is a domineering or dominating what? Civilization. Economically, they dominate you. Please, who can tell me how long this domination is going to last before we are free, at least economically? We thank Allah, the current economic meltdown today is negatively telling on the economy. Look at things like AIG. American International Group is not suffering now because of the brunt of economic meltdown. But before that, today our schools in shambles, our roads in shambles, just like death traps. Our hospitals, okay, even our paper qualifications are no longer valued across the world. Today, I have traveled across this world, alhamdulillah. Even our typical degrees given by our universities don't claim quality with other degrees given by other schools of life. Let me tell you, right now, a degree given by a Ghanaian university is more recognized than a Nigerian degree right now. Ghana, this common Ghana. Sorry, I don't say common, it's a good country. I was in Ghana and I saw how the roads are good. The type of car that wouldn't be roadworthy in Ghana is roadworthy in Nigeria. Astaghfirullah. Because of what? Because we are just follow. We are just yes men and yes women. Copycats. Whatever they do. So this is another feature of Western civilization. It dominates you. Since colonialism up till today. That is why Kwame Nkrumah Who can tell me? Kwame Nkrumah was which country's president? Ghana. Okay, history. Let's go to history. What was the name of Ghana before being changed to Ghana? Gold Coast. That's good. When did Ghana receive its independence? 1950. Fantastic. MashaAllah. I will come. Other questions are coming. Okay. Now all I'm telling you now, Kwame Nkrumah used to be known as Asagiafo, once said, if any country is under neo colonialism cannot claim to be independent. Now economically, the Western societies dominates you. Now let me ask you, recently they held a meeting in London, G20 meeting. Was Nigeria invited? Okay, the president was lamenting. President Yar'Adua was lamenting recently, and they held their meeting. They didn't invite you. How can they invite you? How can they? Number one, we are corrupt. It's not corrupt? I mean the country generally. And that corruption, not only the leaders, even the late are also corrupt. We too are corrupt. Yes. Examination cheating, malpractice is corruption now. When you cheat in examination, you are committing corruption. When a teacher overmarks or undermarks, is committing corruption. When you get the question papers before being ready for distribution, somebody through hooks and corner method, he got it. It's corruption. When a chairman takes a lady with her thighs open, beating his own back with her chest, it's corruption. When a Muslim scholar gives fatwa just to carry favor because of it, it's corruption. So corruption is multidimensional monster. It kills, it mesmerizes, it kills the economy. I was invited by the EFCC last 2 years in Abuja. Well, I came from a journey, so somebody said to me, EFCC want to see you. I said, want to see me? What did I do? They said, no, they just want you to come, you and the Khan president, to talk in Abuja on the religious perspective of what is corruption. You from Muslim side, he's going to talk from the Muslim Christian perspective. I gave instances of how corruption can kill a nation. Narasimha Rao of India, Primakov of Russia, Fulgencio Batista of Cuba in 1959, when Fidel Castro toppled him because of corruption. Colonel Olibanov of America during Reagan, courtesy of the so-called Iran Gate. Richard Nixon in 1974 had to vacate the American presidency because of Watergate corruption. Many instances. Helmut Kohl of Germany because of corruption. Mr. Huang Hui-chang, because of corruption, had to be killed for stealing only $600,000 American dollars. Only. But he was sent to the gallows. Come to Nigeria and you see. The point is, you see, it is one of the features of Western civilization that we are all victims now. It dominates economically. It makes you materialistic. Even the education we are now undergoing is because of materialism. That's true. Because primarily you are here to get a job. Yeah, you are looking for meal ticket. Yeah, we call it meal ticket. Now make a chop kind of education. Chop system. Let me ask you. Please answer me for the sake of Allah. If you had been given admission, please come to class. Just you are going to receive the education, all round education, but no paper. Will you come? Will you come? No, be sincere. I myself will not come. Why? Because we have been conditioned to think that we are here primarily to get our paper, to correct the paper, to rectify to remedy our shortcomings or whatever, to get admission in higher institution. And then I have my BA, my BSc, my LLB, my whatever, my masters, my PhD, then I get, that's what you call commercial bourgeoisie. The higher the qualification, the bigger the salary. The higher the qualification, the better chances of good life, good car, fantastic houses. Shuttling London, Europe, because you are educated. In a typical Islamic education, you don't study for materialism. You study for the sake of Allah. Because the reward of the hereafter is by far much better. This life is going to come to an end, an abrupt end. Okay? So this is feature number what? Number 4. Economically, they dominate you. Politically, they dominate you. They say until you implement democracy, you are not a good man. If you are not democratic, no matter how good the government is never taken into consideration. But if you can claim to be democratic, no matter how bad you are in governance, you are okay. You are dominated. And then, educationally, socially, they dominate you. The social ways of Western civilization is what you see. Nightclub, dancing in nudity, nightclub, okay, wedding gown. Even some Muslims today, when they want to marry, they buy the so-called wedding gown, which is un-Islamic. If anybody buys it, he is only keeping alive the Western civilization, which is noxious, dangerous, and un-Islamic. The Prophet says, "Man tashabbaha biqawmin fahuwa minhum." Allah says, "Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu la tattakhidhu al-yahuda wan-nasara awliya ba'duhum awliya'u ba'd wa man yatawallahum minkum fa innahu minhum inna Allah la yahdi al-qawma adh-dhalimin فترى الذين في قلوبهم مرض يسارعون فيهم يقولون نخشى أن تصيبنا دائرة فعسى الله أن يأتي بالفتح أو أمر من عنده فيصبحوا على ما أصروا في أنفسهم نادمين." This is Quran chapter 5 verses 50 to 51, Surah Al-Ma'idah. He also says, "يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا يتخذ المؤمنون الكافرين أولياء من دون المؤمنين ومن يفعل ذلك فليس من الله في شيء إلا أن تتقوا منهم تقى ويحذركم الله نفسه وإلى الله المسير." This is Quran chapter 3 verse 28. Allah also says, "يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تتخذوا عدوي وعدوكم أولياء تلقون إليهم بالمودة وقد كفروا بما جاءكم من الحق يخرجون الرسول وإياكم." This is Quran chapter 60 verse 1. Many Quranic verses warning against imitating the morally decadent Western civilization of unbelievers and other civilizational realities of the world today. Now they dominate you. Feature number 3. They dominate you economically. I gave you examples. Politically, I gave you examples. Now socially, then I gave you instances. Nightclub. It's a social misnomer. Wedding gown. وما أدراك ما wedding gown. لا إله إلا الله. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله. A Muslim buying a gown from a kafiri, imitating kafirun, and you are empowering them economically as well. Bachelor's night. What does that mean? Honeymoon. What is honeymoon? Allahu Akbar. Bonfire on the campuses. Social clubs. Okay. Ring. You want to marry her, you buy her ring. It's not bad to buy your fiancée, you want to marry her, buy for her ring under normal circumstances. But when it comes to the issue of erotic way of living, it becomes haram, ya akhil kareem. Imitating the kafirun. In Sunan of Abu Dawud, In Muslim of Ahmad, the Prophet says, "Man tashabbaha biqawmin fahuwa minhum." In another riwayah, لَتَتَّبِعُنَّ سَنَنَ مَنْ قَبْلَكُمْ شِبْرًا بِشِبْرٍ وَذِرَاعًا بِذِرَاعٍ لَوْ دَخَلُوا جُحُرَ ضَبٍّ تَبِعْتُمُوهُمْ. قُلْنَا يَا رَسُولَ اللَّهِ الْيَهُودُ وَالنَّصَارَى قَالَ فَمَنْ. You will be imitating the unbelievers of Allah, bit by bit, inch by inch. Even if they were to enter the house of iguana, you will have entered. Which one do you mean, Rasulullah? The Jews and Christians say, yes. Which people, if not them? Look at it today. Mentally conquered because of the negative effect of the so-called Western civilization. So they dominate you socially. Nightclub, nudity, their kind of appearance. Even you want to walk the way they walk. Anything coming from them, you prefer it. Okay? Somebody taking his wife in a car with her hijab removed just to prove to the world she is beautiful. Negative effect. You want to marry a woman, a girl, a sister, a lady, you print IV. On the IV, her picture, your picture. Taking her hand, putting it around your neck, and you agree. Wow, you claim to be civilized. You are uncivilized. You are uncivilized. You claim to be progressive. You are retrogressive, not progressive. Progressiveness is different from retrogressiveness. What is all this? Allahul Musta'an wa alayhi tuklan. This is feature number 4. They dominate. Feature number 5. Western civilization, does not believe in competition. Yeah. They go together with the previous feature I have mentioned. But this is slightly different from the one I have mentioned. It is a competitive civilization. It competes with you. That is, it does not allow any other one to be above it. Now, in the light of this, the Western society competed with the Eastern civilization. When my time comes, Malaysia, remind me. How many minutes? 2 minutes. Okay, Jazakallah khair. Okay, I will give you just few instances. Do you know USSR? What is USSR? Union of Soviet Socialist Republic. When did it come down? In the hand of which leader? Mikhail Gorbachev. You don't study history? Especially the contemporary history. By 1989 or thereabout, USSR, that hegemony came down. In the hand of Mikhail Gorbachev. Because of his two programs, Glasnost and Perestroika. Okay, by 1990, George Bush the senior was saying, now is for America to be the leader of the world. The new world order has now been entrenched. They fought communism. Now they came to realize the biggest enemy with equal competing and competitive civilizational power is Al-Islam. What happened? They have to declare war on Islam. These are going to be my closing remarks. That is, Islam, Western civilization, the struggle in the field. Samuel Huntington, in his book, The Clash of Civilizations, has mentioned that one day Islam will come to complete clash between itself and the Western civilization. And now we begin to see. When communism crumbled, you know communism is no longer. How many countries today claiming to be communist? Maybe you say China. But even the type of Chinese communism is not the type of the one you heard in previous USSR. There are differences. Which country again? Maybe Cuba. But the Cuban communism is a modified, is a domesticated and internalized kind of what? Communism. Which countries? Maybe Libya. Well, Gaddafi only claims he's a pretentious guy. pretending to be socialist Muslim. It's not possible. Allah says, يا أيها الذين آمنوا ادخلوا في السلم كافة ولا تتبعوا خطوات الشيطان إنه لكم عدو مبين. Be in Islam totally, either Muslims or non-Muslims. You cannot claim to be Muslim at the same time a socialist. It's not possible. ادخلوا في السلم كافة إما الإسلام كلية وإما الكفر كلية. There is no any way in between. Either Islam in toto or kufr in toto, and you will meet Allah one day. So to me, Gaddafi is only deceiving himself, claiming to be this and that. But I want to believe maybe he has repented, going back to the true religion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, the Western societies competed with the East. Hence what we call Cold War. Do you know, in those times or in those days, the competition almost led to the Third World War. Almost Third World War would have been fought in the 60s between America, during its leaders, and Khrushchev of Russia. Now they understood that Islam is the only religion that has the power to compete with the Western civilization. I have mentioned how many features? 5. Because of time factor. Now what remains? Can Islam stand the challenge of Western civilization? Then I ask you, I give you a counter question. Do you entertain doubt in the Islamic vitality to counterbalance, to outsmart this so-called Western civilization? With our Qur'an, with our Iman, with our Rasul, with our Aqidah, we stand better chances of undoing and uprooting any negative impact of Western civilization, if only we are true Muslims. Because the West knows Islam is the only religion. That is what Mr. Frank Carlucci said. He wrote a detailed report to Pentagon by 1989. You know what he said? He said, well, I am advising the American government then, during Reagan, that America should forget the differences between it and Soviet Union, because the common enemy has now risen. That is Al-Islam. We thought we have fought it. We thought it had died. But now with the struggle of Mujahideen, now it's now waxing strong and stronger. He even said, what have we done? We have awakened the sleeping giant. We have awakened the sleeping giant. من الذي قال هذا؟ كافر. Masmo Frank Carlucci. Now the unbeliever believes you have the vitality. Instead of nightgown, leave it. Buy her hijab. That is your civilization. Instead of honeymoon, please go and do Umrah moon with your wife. If you have married her, pay your money, go for Umrah and thank Allah. Not to go to hotels and pay monies in 5-star hotels or 6-star or whatever stars outside, empowering the unbelievers. Take the money, go to Umrah, drink from Zamzam, ask Allah to break to bless the marriage. Number 3, read Quran constantly. Memorize it, understand it, capture it, practicalize it, know the translation, the teachings. The nitty-gritty of the teaching should be known by you. And number 4, try and study the Sunnah critically, scrupulously, diligently. Know the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, implement it. Try and make your life sunnatically compliant, Quranically compliant as well. Similarly, try and study the seer, the chronicle, the stories of our pious predecessors, the Sahabah. You have voluminous things, compendiums to be read, to be understood, to be comprehended in the course of doing that. Try to be a practical Muslim on the campus, outside the campus. Try to come and study Boku or Bokoism, but the positive Bokoism, not negative Bokoism. I have been given many examples, and I will say it again. I even said it maybe in my last lecture here, if I can remember. That you can even Islamize the alphabet, isn't it? By saying A for Allah. Can you remember me? B for what? You have forgotten. C for what? To the end of it, even to why. That is the meaning of positive bookism. If you got admission to go for a higher degree, for example, go and study with the intention of being equipped better to render your services to your religion first and then to the community at large. If you go on your NYSC, for example, in the south and the west, try to be a true Muslim. Alhamdulillah, I was in Bonny Island, like I've told you earlier. You have our members of MCAN, Muslim Association, men and women. You saw they are walking. We were in one village last 5 days. The name of the village is called Pite, in the heart of Ogoniland. Women form one in River State in Port Harcourt are doing wonderful jobs there. They are women, workers from their little and meager salaries. They are right now sponsoring teachers to go to the inside, the hinterlands, the corners and crannies of Ogoniland. They are looking for a Dar al-Akhirah, not buying jewelries, wasting their precious times and hours. Don't waste your time watching House of Fame. Don't waste your time. Hollywood, Nollywood, and A'udhu Billah, Kannywood. What is Kannywood? هذه الشيطانية هذه الجهنمية الإبليسية الشيطانية. What is Kannywood? فالله المستعان. Study, remain diligent, be patient, be humble, be focused, be straightforward, be inspired by the Sunnah, and be level-headed. And I can assure you, no amount of any negative impact of Western civilization can touch you negatively. Try and live according to the teachings of the deen. Mr. Chairman, brothers and sisters, I think it's high time to draw the curtain on the discourse, asking Allah out of His mercy to make us understand all that have been said. The mistakes I have made, may Allah forgive them, and may Allah gather us في جنات ونهر في مقعد صدق عند مليك مقتدر يوم لا ينفع مال ولا بنون إلا من أتى الله بقلب سليم. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
تكبير. الله أكبر. الشيخ جزاكم الله خير. I'm sure you are convinced, as I told you earlier, that the Shaykh is not ready for the lecture because he has not written anything. But I'm sure now we are convinced that the only civilization is the Islamic civilization, not the Western civilization. And I hope and I wish each and every one of you will put what he has learned into practice. No more Western civilization in class. Do you agree? Now, before the questions, I would like to mention the presence of the Vice Principal SDS in the person of Dr. Abdul Ghani Madiga. Welcome, sir. There are many questions, and the college patron is trying to sift those that are very meaningful so that we read them to Shaykh to respond to them, and that is why we gave him 1.5 hours for him to discuss the topic. Now, before then, the solution, please and please, I would like each and every one of us to make sure that he abides by the advice given by Shaykh. Number one, he said, recite the Holy Qur'an. How many of you, please sincerely tell me, how many of you today read the Holy Qur'an before you come to college? I'm sure all of you are Muslims, isn't it? So please abide by the shawara given by Shaykh that each morning, even if it is one line, read the Holy Qur'an. Read the Holy Qur'an. There is a wisdom behind that. Number two, try as much as possible to also go through some of the ahadith of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It will help you to change your life. You have a very limited time in this college. After you finish this place, you are going to the university, inshallah. But that is not the end of life. So it is very important, as the Shaykh said, that we also consult the books of ahadith. They are there at many places, even the computer, in the internet. Number three, try to go to schools where the seerah of the Prophet Muhammad and his Sahabah is being taught, so that you know how the companions of the Prophet sit with the Prophet. How do they go about their daily life? They were students like you. They were children. They were adults. How do they relate to one another? It is only when you go to Seerah of the Prophet that you'll be able to know how to relate, even in this college and in your life. So it's also very important, as the Shaykh said, that we always consult our Seerah books. Seerah, tarihin annabawa, the tarihin manzo Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the tarihin sahabbai. Number 3, study positive Bokoism. Trying to understand what that Bokoism is all about. But this is what you are doing in class. Make sure what you are doing in class is not only going to pass IJND to go to the university. You want to get some training. You want to be a practical Muslim. Even in physics, or chemistry, or sociology, or economics. Try to be a practical Muslim in your dealings, in your studies. This also will help us. So in a brief, Islamic civilization is best answer to all the problems of the world, and not Western civilization. Without taking much of our time, I would like to go through some of the questions that I presented so that our Shaykh will respond to them. Number 1, he says, Assalamu alaikum. Is there any advantage for female to acquire Western education related to Islam? You know that the Shaykh will go through it.
It depends on you see the type of education or the field of specialization you are talking about. If there is a dire need for our sisters to, as an example, go and study medicine, nursing, midwifery, or whatever we call it, if there is a dire need, there is a necessitating need in studying these things in order to be able to come and man our hospitals in place of non-Muslim doctors, or even Muslim that are married. How do you feel? How do you take it? How do you view it? A non-Muslim, a Kafiri medical practitioner being given a woman on account of pregnancy, he is a gynecologist, and dressing her, a'udhu billah, putting his hand, that shouldn't be like that, on her body, on account of necessity. How do you view it? If that is a necessity, then it is necessity for our sisters to go and study, to take his own place. Which is a bigger necessity there? It is humiliating, believe you me. We allow a lamentable situation like this going on unchecked. If it is a necessity to take your wife, your sister, your daughter, your whatever to a man like this, I told you, then it is equally a necessity of a greater force for them to go and study, to be equally proficient in the field, and let them man our hospitals and our health centers instead of allowing something in the hand of unbelievers. Not only men, even a non-Muslim woman, to look at a Muslim woman undressed is not wholesome. It's not something nice. It's something lamentable, something condemnable. So in the light of this, they can go and, that's why I say it depends on the nature. It depends on the cruciality of that field of specialization. But if you are telling me let her go and study mass communication to be a broadcaster, no. Are you telling me broadcasting is as important as the example I cited earlier? She's just there to study literature, to be able to speak the Queen's English, and so what? So what? She is there to study political science, to be like people like Edward Einstein, who are known to be political science gurus. And so what? If she is a political scientist, she studies law to be a lawyer. She can be as proficient as Lord Denning if she likes it. But that is not important. So I'm saying, to cut it short, if that kind of education she has gone to acquire is informed by a compelling necessity, such as the one I have cited, the answer is yes. But even then, there should be enabling environment for this kind of education to flourish. Now, a girl coming to cashier to pass her IJMB to go to the university, for example, what's the purpose? What is the rationale behind her coming? Some are saying, well, you know, in these days, if you are not educated, your husband abruptly drops dead. You are left with responsibilities. This is part of the negative feature of Western civilization in the minds of some parents, and by extension, some students. They assume as if the death is only men's business. If your husband dies, what about you dying as well? So please, it depends on the kind of education she is looking for. Okay? But in the light of what we are seeing today, our universities today, most of them